Getting into a relationship is easy. Getting out of a relationship is nearly impossible. I'm Dr. Joe Kort. I'm founder and director of the Center for Relationship Health in Royal Oak, Michigan. And today I'm going to be talking about healthy goodbyes. How do we say goodbye and end a relationship that we've been in, whether it be a significant other, whether it be a long-time therapy situation, whether it be a friendship? We don't do it. We ghost, we avoid, we disappear without talking about it because it's uncomfortable. It makes people feel badly. It brings up people's attachment issues. And to avoid that, people just go, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to disappear or have an angry goodbye. That's another thing people do. Very angry, and I'm just going to get rid of you and I'm done with you. It's happened many times in people's lives. It's happened to me. I've done it. I've had it done to me because goodbyes can be so difficult. As a young man, I stayed out of relationships. I dated a lot in my 20s, but I was so afraid to get into a relationship because I would have friends and I would have clients at the time who would talk about how difficult it was to end the relationship that they were in. I didn't want that. I didn't want to get in and not be able to get out. And then when I fell in love with my husband at 30, I've never had a breakup. I've never had anybody leave me. I've had breakups in my family. That's been difficult, but not anything in terms of a breakup with a partner. But what I learned as a therapist, I do what's called Imago Relationship Therapy, and they have a goodbye exercise that's part of the process of helping couples either uncouple or helping couples who go through a separation. And in that separation, they say goodbye to the old relationship and they say hello to the new relationship, but they still use this process. I'm going to go over the process. It's a handout I give to my clients. It's called the goodbye process. Imago, by the way, is a Latin word for image, and it means that we are drawn to familiar love, that we're drawn to the positive and negative traits of our primary caretakers. And so the reason I love Imago so much is it has communication exercises in it, including the goodbye exercise, and it has an understanding of why we fall for familiar love and how it recycles our childhood, our past, our histories in our current relationships, particularly our adult love relationship. So I'm going to talk about the goodbye process. I usually, when I'm working with couples, tell them I'm going to do this, whether they've decided to end or whether they decided to end point 1.0 and move into a reboot of 2.0 of their relationship. When I read this, people get really emotional. So not just doing it can be emotional, but hearing about it can be emotional. Again, we don't do healthy goodbyes in our culture. Instead, what we do is the ghosting, the disappearing, the anger, the unhealthy ways. Here's how we use the Imago goodbye exercise. I ask the couple to face each other, so they sit in two chairs and they look at each other. By the way, I will sometimes use this with people as a single person, an individual person, even in a relationship, and use it as an outline to write out their goodbye exercise. I don't spring it on couples and say, okay, we're going to do this in our session. I say, let me give you these things and think about it. Go home, take notes if you want. When it's an actual couple, I have them say it to each other. But when it's somebody single or individual, I have them do it just writing it out, and they might do it with an empty chair in my office. And so I have the couple face each other. It usually takes up an entire session. And then the next time we come back, then the other partner goes and it takes up an entire session. And then we have a third appointment where we talk to each other about what happened and what this all brought up for them. It's emotional for me too. I'm not going to lie. Watching couples say goodbye, uncouple, talk about an ending, look at an ending, have an ending, it can be very upsetting to watch, but it's part of my work. And so I hold back my feelings and I deal with them outside of the session because, in my life, that's probably why I avoided goodbyes and avoided relationships. So I didn't have to say goodbye because I had in my own life an issue where my father left when I was very young and didn't say goodbye. He ended up being in my life throughout my life, but it wasn't the same. So therapists often don't admit that, and I would never talk about that in a session, but it's definitely something that I've had to deal with. So here's the goodbye exercise. The first thing I have couples say is, tell me what it was like living with me, or tell me what it was like being with me overall. This is an overview. So overall, this is how it was being in a relationship with you. And it can be good, bad, it can be a mix of both, whatever it is, but whatever it is, you make it real. When they're done, I say, is there more? Then we go to the next question. Tell me about the difficult and most negative experiences with me and say goodbye to each one. Now, here's how this works. The person very explicitly goes through each thing uniquely and says goodbye. For example, they might say, I'm saying goodbye to the time you left me at that party. I'm saying goodbye to the time that you did this or you did that. I'm saying goodbye to the time I say goodbye to that. So each individual thing that can be very cathartic for people. But the next question is much harder. Question 3 is, tell me about all the good things and say goodbye to them. Now, people get emotional with this. I'm saying goodbye to the minute I laid eyes on you. I'm saying goodbye to the time that we had our first child together. I'm saying goodbye to the time that we bought our first house or had our first vacation, whatever it was that was special for you. I'm saying goodbye to each thing. Now, if the couple is staying together, it's still important to do this. People will say, well, why should I say goodbye to that? We're not ending our relationship. It's still the part of the process of letting go. It's a clearing, if you could look at it like a clearing. The next question is, tell me about your hopes and dreams and say goodbye to them. Person says, I had dreamed that we would grow old together. I had hoped we'd have more children or that we would have children. Whatever the hopes and dreams are, I'm saying goodbye to them. Then the next question is, say goodbye to your partner. I'm saying goodbye to you, whatever the name is, Chris, Sam, Judy. Then the next question is, I release you and I'm beginning to move into my future. And then you stop. This can take an entire session because there are tears, there are emotions. Sometimes people get angry, and then we process. What did you learn from this? What did you get out of this? What came up for you? In the next appointment, we do the other partner and they do the exact same questions. I really recommend people even use this as an outline so that you can have healthy goodbyes in your life. We need to have those. We need to be able to have closure and be able to say to each other, this was a moment in our lives. Actually, I remember one Imago therapist I was trained with. She said, I haven't had 3 divorces. I've had 3 successful relationships. And I really like that. It was a great attitude to have, that each one was a success for her in its own way. If you like this, I would ask you to follow me on this platform that we're on here. I'm also on YouTube. I'm on Instagram. I'm on TikTok. You can follow me on Facebook and LinkedIn. My handle is at Dr. Joe Kort, DrJoeKort. And you can follow me also on my website at joekort.com. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next time.